Blessedly, Rudy Giuliani has been out of the picture for the last week or two. He's been off doing his investigating in Europe and he's coming back soon. But what do people like Lindsey Graham think about him? Is he actually helping out the president the way the president seems to think? Well, we've got a couple of sources close to the president. First, Lindsey Graham, what does he think about this investigation?
As to Rudy, I don't know what Rudy's got, but I'm gonna send him a letter. If you're gonna go on national television and tell the country that you found evidence of a cover-up, then I hope you know what you're talking about. He's a good friend. He was a strong supporter of Senator McCain. He actually helped engineer an endorsement by candidate Trump of my good friend John McCain in the primary. I like Rudy a lot, but we're gonna have to watch what we say. So I'm gonna have an open invitation to Rudy Giuliani to come to the Senate Judiciary Committee and tell us what you found. And if he comes, you gotta be willing to ask questions about your conduct. It's just not good for the country to make these accusations on cable television without them being tested.
So look, Lindsey is almost always 100% deferential and protective of Donald Trump. That's also generally true of Rudy Giuliani. So it's interesting to see Lindsey Graham not really explicitly attacking or challenging Rudy Giuliani, but the threat is sort of, I think, fairly obviously there.
Yeah, no, the reason Rudy is empowered is because Trump, to this day, keeps saying, "Oh, Rudy's got stuff, man. Rudy's, oh yeah, I sent him. He's fantastic." And so now Lindsey Graham knows that Donald Trump's an idiot, and so he has to talk to the baby in the way that you would talk to little kids, and he's like, "Now remember, if Rudy comes to the Senate, he's basically saying the other side would get to ask him questions and he would have to have this thing we call evidence. So we have to be really careful. Do you understand that?" He's not talking to Giuliani, he's talking to Trump. Because without Trump, Giuliani's a raving lunatic that's wandering the streets. Who cares about Giuliani?
Well, even with Trump, he is.
That's right. But it's Lindsey Graham saying, now remember Donald, remember Donnie, we need this thing called evidence. Don't bring him here and get yourself in more trouble. Remember that, Donnie? Okay, but because he's dealing with two imbeciles.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're at a situation right now where they can be disorganized and off the rails, but they know fully well that they're going to get away with it because everything is partisan and nothing is evidence-based when it comes to the Senate and these Republicans who refuse to just sort of evaluate things neutrally or evidentially, right? Yeah. However, it does raise the point, and this thought crossed my mind. I saw you guys talk about it a little bit last night, where Andrew Yang made the point at the debate last night, well, people don't really care about the impeachment. He kind of walked it back a little bit. I personally fully support, right, that Trump is impeached and this is a violation, right? But the question I just want to ask you guys, it gives me an opportunity since I haven't talked to you guys about this, is why is Trump not been impeached on about 7 or 8 other things concurrently with this specific Ukraine thing that a lot of working class people may not care about, right? Like for destroying not following the law on many occasions, the emoluments clause, right? Enriching his own business, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I can list them out, but I won't do that. But I just wonder, why can't the impeachment itself be on why couldn't we have pushed this so that there are multiple, red marks on Trump's record so that becomes part of our political capital in destroying him in 2020?
There's a simple answer to that, and it's a very depressing one. Democratic leadership is historically incompetent. So now I'm seeing all over online, and they feel empowered. Conservatives saying all over, and it looks like they're winning over independents. There was no crimes charged, so I guess Donald Trump didn't commit a crime. They just disagree with him. No, I told you it was too vague. I told you abuse of power is too vague. He's committed actual crimes. The hush money payments to his mistresses. Exactly. Michael Cohen, his co-conspirators in prison. Why don't you say it? Why don't you say it? And so
also actual crimes here too, but those are just the latest in a long line of actual crimes.
Yeah, I've been observing, Steve Bannon has been kind of speaking out and doing interviews, and he often talks about the political arc, right? The political optics as a media person like us, right? Yeah. the political optics of the impeachment. Like, what is the narrative that's produced out of the impeachment? Because it's not going to be conviction about Trump. And how does that stay and become part of the narrative of defeating Trump in 2020? Yeah. We got to get that narrative right. Because otherwise, if it's just this Ukraine thing that a lot of people don't care about, to your point, Cenk, the Senate is not going to convict, then what do we have? We have the witch hunt thing all over again, right?
With this Democratic leadership, we have no hope. They're so terrible at their jobs. I don't know if it's because of some degree of corruption they have regarding money, so that's why they never want to talk about Trump's money or campaign finance violations and all the things that he has most clearly done.
Stolen appropriations from Congress for the wall. All the sexual harassment stuff that drove out Franken and Conyers.
But I think that it's probably just largely, they just have no earthly idea what they're doing, and they are enabled by the national media that sees their grotesque incompetence and goes, attaboy, a master legislator. I mean, my God, there's an article today in a HuffPost that's supposed to be progressive about how Nancy Pelosi, her record of accomplishment is amazing. It's Orwellian. The press also has an alternate reality where these people are competent.
There's a fixation on causes that don't necessarily matter to 99% of voters.
I mean, look, if it were up to me, it would not have been those specific charges that they filed. It would have been broader. It wasn't up to me. Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leadership seem to think that this is easier to grasp. It's a very clear thing. You can see it. They have the transcript and all of that. I disagree with part of the premise. I don't think it's true that the vast majority don't care. I think the vast majority of the country, 70 to 80%, say that what he did was wrong, and it's very understandable. A narrow majority of the country thinks that he should be removed from office based on it. But I think to the extent that more people don't get why it's wrong, I think that a lot of people who should be making the case for why people being willing to sell out our foreign policy to manipulate an election should be wrong. We should all care about that. I think Andrew Yang would prefer to focus on other issues. That's perfectly fine. I know there are some people who try to make the case that nothing of this sort matters because they apparently have little concern for the future of American elections. And this knee-jerk need to protect Donald Trump from any accountability. I don't get it. I would have put a whole ton of other crimes that he's committed on there. I think that them letting him, even just the 10 counts of obstruction of justice under the Mueller report, I think that should have been involved too. Any number of different things. But I partially disagree.
We agree. I mean, it's an all hands on deck kind of approach that we both would support.
Now, I do want to just add one more thing. That was Lindsey Graham. Ivanka Trump was also asked during a recent appearance on TV about Rudy Giuliani. Is he actually giving good counsel to the president?
In your opinion, do you think he's getting good counsel from Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney?
I know Rudy Giuliani in a very different context as one of the greatest mayors in the history of this country and a real hero in New York. So that is the experience I've had with Rudy for a very long period of time. He's smart and thoughtful and a real warrior, and was a great mayor.
That was not an answer to the question. She paused. She looked down.
Deflection.
I prefer to think of him as of 15 years ago.
When he flushed all like the working class black and brown people out of Manhattan.
That's true too. Yeah, and all that stuff that she said about being a hero and all of that. Yeah, he's done nothing since then but try to totally destroy that reputation.
I'm now a broken record. I mean, Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump might have literally lost their minds. Like they are so unbelievably unintelligent and incoherent. They're raving, sweaty-toothed madmen, and the Democrats are kind of losing to them. Oh my God.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. Can I say one other thing about the nature of the impeachment over this thing? It's one thing that I think sometimes language matters. And so I know that early on when people were talking about the transcript, we all want to be very clear that it's not an actual transcript because it implies things in the word. There's another word that I want to take issue, or a phrase I want to take issue with, and it is describing the plot was to get dirt on Joe Biden, or Rudy Giuliani is going there to get dirt on Joe Biden. Hypothetically, if there is dirt there, they'd like it. But the plot is not to get dirt. The plot is to make it seem as if there is dirt. They didn't want Zelensky to do a CNN interview and announce investigations because they knew that Zelensky would find something. They knew that it doesn't matter if Zelensky finds anything. If he does the press conference, if he talks about the investigation, if that becomes a topic of news, that does the damage by itself. And that's why, for someone like me, I don't support Joe Biden. I don't, a lot of people don't, but you should still be concerned about this because the easy, casual selling out of a foreign policy to manipulate the media into affecting public opinion of an election, that does matter. This is not a case where we can say, well, if there's something there, we all need to know the facts. This is being manipulated into thinking something is there, whether it is or not.
And by the way, you know what this sounds just like, unfortunately, is Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election.
Yeah, look, there's any number of terrible things that Hillary Clinton did that could have been the focus of the last couple of weeks of media coverage. What was the focus was stuff that was not even accurate. But does it matter after the fact that it wasn't? No, if it had an effect, it had an effect.
Let progressives at these guys. Let us fight them. You corporate Democrats have no idea what you're doing. Please, for God's sake, step aside. Otherwise, you might even lose to this buffoon one more time. My God, if Biden runs into Trump and they have this kind of strategy, God.
Oh yeah, and the whole impeachment doesn't matter. If it's Biden, it's still gonna be a dominant narrative in the election. Exactly the same as if it hadn't been discovered.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.